Before anybody ever heard of George Zimmerman, there was another headline-grabbing case out of Florida that had a firm grip on the national consciousness, the Casey Anthony trial. She, of course, is the young mother accused of killing her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee. And like the Zimmerman case, her acquittal sparked extremely strong emotions. So joining us now, Casey Anthony's defense attorney, Jose Baez. Jose, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Dan.
What's your reaction? Let me just start by asking you first, what is your reaction to this verdict?
I wasn't surprised for a second. There was a reason law enforcement didn't arrest George Zimmerman, and there was a reason the prosecutor in Seminole County refused to file charges, and that's because they just simply didn't have the evidence. Now, that doesn't mean that Mr. Zimmerman was innocent, but there was no eyewitnesses, and there was only one person's account and no other forensic evidence to contradict it. So I wasn't surprised for a second.
So do you think there should be no legal ramifications for George Zimmerman, even after having shot and killed an unarmed 17-year-old boy?
Well, I don't think that at all. But in order to convict someone in this country, you have to have a little thing called evidence. And sometimes that's very difficult to do. Our law is set up in a certain way where it tells us we don't have the ability to go back and find out exactly what occurred on certain days. So they set up certain standards to ensure against wrongful convictions. Now, you know, this case was clearly weak from the beginning. The prosecutor set up unrealistic expectations, and they just couldn't deliver. And it really isn't surprising. This is the weakest high-profile case I've ever seen.
You know something about representing very controversial people in high-profile cases. What do you think your former client, Casey Anthony, would advise somebody like George Zimmerman about leading life with some semblance of normalcy in the wake of a trial like this?
Well, I don't think Casey could advise Mr. Zimmerman on anything, mainly because these are two separate cases. But, you know, both of these individuals won't be able to live a normal life ever again. They are forever etched in history, and they will have to go and live quiet lives somewhere and try and do something with their lives. I certainly hope that Mr. Zimmerman's been given a second chance. He does something good with it.
Forever etched in history, and no hope or little hope of living a normal life. It is very interesting to hear that, especially from your perspective. Jose Baez, thank you very much for joining us on this very busy Sunday morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dan.